For me, next year is about taking a lot of risk, right? And not just saying yes to absolutely everything, but making calculated decisions and taking big risk. And so next year will be big things for us that you'll have to wait and see, I think.
All eyes on the way I vibe when I walk into the room. Wind blows underneath the soles of my brand new pair of shoes.
The last decade has been about setting that foundation for me. Even though I thought I was building and building and building, looking back on it now, it's really just the foundation, because all the ideas and things that we're talking about now and what I'm going to do in the future for the next decade feels like, okay, now let's go build the house, which is exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
Yes. Grow your team.
Yes.
What are the top things you look for in a new team member?
You. The number one thing I look for is energy, by far. Like, you have to have good energy, and you have to be able to wake up in the morning like with a smile on your face no matter what. Because it's easy to interview with good energy, but you have to have consistent energy. And I'll check that by always interviewing people in threes. So I interview them first, but then I have my admin staff interview them, which they purposely make very boring to make sure that the agent has high energy. Because if they then adapt to that energy and then they're really boring, then that's what they're going to be like in real life. And then I'll have a team member interview them like for coffee or a drink or something to see what they're like in a social setting. And then the agent always lets their guard down. And as long as the energy is there, there's a pretty good prospect. They have to have enthusiasm, right? They have to have enthusiasm, and they have to have empathy, right? So enthusiasm and empathy for me, I do with two questions. The enthusiasm question is, tell me about the greatest day of your life. Right? And you'd be surprised, like, the amount of people who are like, the day my kid was born, like, dunzo. Like, if that's the way you talk to me about the way your kid was born, right? The ones who are good are the ones who are going to be enthusiastic about their clients and that purchase. Because, like, we're doing deals all the time, and it becomes so, like, it's mundane to us. Someone's buying another house for 150 grand, like, sweet, yeah. You've got issues with the paint, like, great. Like, you need a new kitchen, awesome. But if you can be enthusiastic with that person because it's the biggest thing they've ever done in their whole life, and you can talk to me about the greatest day of your life, then I'll know that you'll be able to do that with clients. And then empathy is, tell me about the worst day of your life. And if you say, the day my dog died, it doesn't work for me. But if you can tell me a story about how your dog died and that was really, really awful, and why would I ever ask you that question, then that's a good thing. Because education I can teach anybody. Kind of that age-old adage, right? You hire for character and you teach for skill. Okay. Hello. What's up? It's crazy, actually, because I just did this, the VIP luncheon, and got to have a really, really cool chat with a bunch of people over there, which was awesome. And one thing that we kept talking about kind of at lunch was like goals for next year, right? Like what we do kind of going forward into 2020, which really got me thinking. And I was sitting next to two guys who were in the armed services. Mike and Eric, are you guys in here? Oh, they're right there, yeah. Which is insane, and they were telling me how 10 years ago they were in the armed services, right? Crazy. And now they're here selling real estate and have completely changed their lives. So for me, looking forward to the next 10 years, like, that's a crazy idea. I'm not thinking about 2020 as a one-off. Like, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do in 2020. Now in my mind, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do for the next decade. Because time is going to move so fast. Before I know it, it's going to be 2030. It's nuts. It's crazy. But it'll be here before I even know it. Like, I just had a baby this year. That's crazy. I can't believe I have a baby. And now she's already 8 months old. Like, it's just going to happen so fast. So my planning that I'm doing now is for decade resolutions. The last 10 years for me was building my foundation. And if you'd asked me 10 years ago if I was building a foundation for a career, I'd say, absolutely not. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, career, what are you talking about? I'm just trying to pay rent. But in hindsight, we're able to see what we really did, and then we can define it. So the last 10 years for me were foundation. And if you're in a similar position, even if you're not, look at the last 10 years and see what you really did. If you got into the business, if you didn't get into the business, if you got into the business a couple years ago, what were the last 10 years like for you? And really think back. Everyone think right now in your head, where were you in November of 2009?
Lehman Brothers is going bankrupt, and financial markets from Asia to Europe are doing their utmost to prevent Monday from turning from dark to black.
Things are weird. Time goes by really, really, really fast, right? Now think about the next 10 years. And this is who I want you to work for, okay? I want you to follow up with everybody. I want you to work your ass off every single day. And I want you to just know that you control the work. You don't control the job. You don't control the market. You don't control your clients. You control the work that you put in every single day. And you're going to take care of the next 10 years because you're going to plan for this decade. Because in 2009, everybody in here didn't have that opportunity. Raise your hand if you planned for the next decade in 2009. Did you? No. No hands are raised, right? Because no one did. No one thinks like that. But now we actually have the opportunity to do that. We can all, by the end of the day today, we're all going to write down in our phones, what's our plan for the next decade? Where do you want to be in 2030? That person is going to be you before you know it. And you're going to work for that person starting right now. Okay? And the way you're going to do it is you're going to focus on the decisions that you're going to make. All the hustle that we all use to get here every single day is now going to produce calculated, possibly risky decisions to get you to the person you want to be. If you want to be a $100 million broker, let's do it. Anything is possible. If you want to go into another state, another town, if you want to grow a team of 50, if you want to retire, that's possible. Maybe the next 10 years you want to be on the beach in Mexico or in Greece. You want to be hanging out. Maybe you want your own yacht. I honestly really strongly believe in the power of positive thinking because it's real. It does happen if you force yourself to remember it every single day. So going forward, after today, focus on the next decade, your decade resolution. Work for that person. You will sell more next year. You will live a better lifestyle. You will make more money. I guarantee it. Thank you very much.